Hello and welcome to Dukascopy TV. I'm Andrew Saks-Mcleod from Leap8, and this is part 2 of the Forex Industry Talk Show. Now, in the previous part, we were talking about building a sales model and how to really engage people. So let's move on to outsourcing, which I know that you are a vermont dissenter of, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we have
No way.
so Karin Zaltberg, CEO of Karinza. What is your opinion on that?
So I think that the money should remain in-house.
That's
That's
good.
the general idea.
Okay.
You know, it's because sales department, marketing department, you have to control money-wise. I mean,
Not only that, culture as well.
right.
Well, it's
Right.
not just culture, but it's
Vision.
return on
How
investment.
can you
It's your biggest
outsource?
spend.
How can you
It's a huge
outsource the
spend.
most important department in the organization?
Right.
How can
But
you
what
even
if you-
think about it?
okay.
That's the money.
It is, but what if it becomes an expensive... we all know that marketing spend is
Partnership.
huge.
Partnership.
Okay.
Good
Ah,
partnership
but
with
that's out-
other people.
That's outsourcing,
What,
right?
share the revenue?
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Revenue share
Because when you
models.
got revenue share models.
And this is more
works
common
fine.
today,
What?
This is outsourcing.
I mean, think about it. Today, if you want to target an Indonesian market or a Malaysian market, very small. It's very hard to find Indo and Malay speakers, you know, in different parts of the world
Yeah,
other than
and
Not only
locally.
That's very
speakers,
true.
they have to be native. They need to understand. the
Correct,
culture,
and they need to understand.
And need to speak the local language.
Right, so you're going to go to the expense of putting up an office there and employing people under the payroll
It's not-
system rather than partnering and outsourcing.
It's not just local language. It's local customs. It's local culture. It's specific terms.
Yeah.
It's comparing it to local business and terms and things that people understand. And so, how can you even remotely think of outsourcing it where you have no control over it? You're spending money bringing in leads that you have no control over their conversion rate,
Right.
over how this customer is
Or
treated,
management.
or
management.
even management.
And everything we spoke at the
Yeah,
beginning.
the management is not yours. How can you trust the management?
But if you have a management consultancy which has a set of service level agreement that they have to stick to, and then they already have their system set up in the local area,
let
this
me
is
ask-
cheaper, right?
Andrew, let me ask you a
Right.
question. Does any other company in this industry or in any other industry has succeed by doing this?
Never.
Tell me one.
Never,
Never.
none.
So
They don't.
None ever.
That's the answer, no?
They do it for
Louis,
cheapness.
I heard about call centers that based in the Philippines, and a lot of binary options operation, or forexes as well, but
call
binary
centers to retain, call centers to sell.
call center to sale. They
Okay.
started with support, and on the sell side, they failed. They don't say it. Of course, no. What company you know that will tell you, oh, no, we didn't do good in the Philippines? Nobody will tell you that. It's their own business. But if we're talking here about companies that executing sales to
And not even on the
outsourcing-
place, because they're doing
Right.
it in another continent.
Philippines, Dominican Republic, things like that.
Costa
How
Rica.
can you
China.
control?
I mean,
this is the
here's-
main channel of your business.
Right.
Here's the challenge with outsourcing is in the FX industry, you have a lot of new brokers that come into the game that come from the gaming industry.
Right.
And so they come under the impression that
It's gonna be
Forex
the same
could
thing.
be no different than
Yeah,
a
they do.
casino.
Well, we talked about that you saw probably. We talked about that on another show just last week. And actually, the particular participant who was there is a very well-known industry participant. Was really talking about the whole gaming and online gaming business as though it's the same structure exactly. The whole sales funnel, the whole everything is exactly the same structure as retail binary options, retail forex.
But that's
not
completely
the case.
false.
Absolutely.
Because a retail forex is a market that requires a specific level of sophistication from your sales and support staff. It requires a specific level of
Yeah, 90% of the business is a back office.
well,
It
it's,
is,
it's
and the rest
value
of it-
proposition, and like Lewis said a second ago, it's culture. And how can you cultivate a culture in your organization if you don't control your frontline representatives? That's like outsourcing an army to defend your homeland. They're never going to fight till
right.
sweat and tears. They're going to back out the second
They will.
something happens
And
and things get
So
hard.
everything we spoke at the beginning, PR, HR,
Motivation,
all these
training.
things, what do? Let it go? No. I mean, Salesforce, and especially in this industry, must be kept in-house.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like
And also marketing. Also marketing, guys.
Lewis, one of the
marketing
things-
is your expenses.
Well,
Right.
there
It's
are
the
other
main
more
expenses
departments
in the
as
business.
well
Huge
than
expense.
this. It
But
is
the thing,
true.
but one of the significant difference, apart from the raw functionality of the whole platform and how it all works and what type of customers use it, one of the things that is differs the gaming business from retail forex is that, like James said, the customers are looking for a specific support. So you have the back office and the customer support department, which is effectively the retention team. Now the thing is, gaming is all affiliates and online. There's no sales funnel so much. It's more affiliates and
There's
online.
no education.
No. You
What
go
kind
to
of
the
education
website
are you
and
going to
that's
give
it, away
someone
you
who's
go.
playing online poker
But
or
you're not.
blackjack?
You're not. It's a different customer. It's
a
also
different industry.
totally
It's completely
different industry.
You cannot
Different
compare
industry.
one thing to the other thing.
no, you can't.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you can't.
If I can add to that we right now Corinza have a very big client, which is a casino client, gaming, totally gaming, gambling world, not forex, not finance.
British company or South African?
British regulated British firm, and very known one. And I can tell you something about that. They didn't thought about outsourcing their support and sales team, never. But I know other casinos, their competitors, that did outsource their support department, but
Right.
not sales
sales.
department.
I
That's
see.
the difference. Support, you can support the client if you have technical problems, if you have some kind of questions regarding deposit channels or whatever.
Procedures and those
You know,
stuff. Yeah.
yes, withdrawal request,
Are
whatever.
they using that as retention as well, or this is just support?
Just support.
Just support.
Pure 100% support. But the sales, how can you? It's like I will outsource the sales department of Corinza.
Right.
You know, how can I trust someone?
Well, put it this
which
way.
is not in my house.
Right. Well,
To
Lewis,
bring me the money.
Lewis
How can you run a restaurant by outsourcing the chef? If you tell me how, I'll do it.
That's so
I mean,
true.
Right. Well, Lewis and I were in Mexico just recently, and we really saw that. I expected to see a lot of affiliates and IBs, which there was, but
But
the
not enough.
big companies that were there had regional offices, and the regional offices had their representatives and IBs, and they had regional operations in Mexico, which was specific to the Latin America. And I really
this
noticed
is
that.
exactly the way that BMFN operates. We operate in a decentralized mode, a decentralized environment, where we go to each of the countries and speak the language and the dialect
Right.
of the people that are there.
Localization, boots on the ground.
We understand their culture. For example, in Latin America and also in the Middle East and in the Turkish culture, I shake on the hand and I look into the eyes is stronger than a signature.
That's right.
How
That's
can
right.
you teach this to somebody
exactly
who is being outsourced and only because he speaks Spanish or Arabic or Turkish who thinks he can close a sale?
Well, some of the call centers did this in the early days. If you go back to the early days,
We
of
go back to 2007, 2009.
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. The days of the very first, what I call, I know that it's not really the right term, I call it the packaged retail forex platform solution. You can take from a provider which gives you the whole liquidity solution, the whole thing, and you just, away you go
But
on the
I
sales floor. The thing is, what they did was they sell their solution, then a forex company sets up, and they employ citizens of a specific country, usually Israel in this particular circumstance, and they have Israeli citizens who speak
speaks different
Spanish
languages.
or Italian or French, but they are Israelis, they're not. Now, who speaks French? People in North Africa. An Israeli guy living in Israel doesn't know the North African culture. He's a Western guy.
But
So
you can do
simple.
online sales with
You can do
multiple
online
desks
sales.
and languages.
Right.
But when we are talking about localization, this is a business. This is a business that established in.
Yeah.
It's like
But here's
to
a- here's
open
a
an
question.
office,
Here's
but
a
it's
real question. Jay,
I
you-
just want to add something real fast before you kind of ask that question, which is the biggest, we've talked about why not to outsource, but I think the one point that everyone misses here is your culture and your commitment and your value proposition to your client. The FX industry is very competitive. It's
That's
cutthroat.
right. It is.
Everyone is competing for that same customer. You've got not 5 brokers. When you talk 2007, 2008, 2009, I consider those the good years of FX, being a veteran of the industry,
Right.
simply because those were the years when you'd get a customer who would be like, what's Forex? And it would be more, rather than a sales call, it would be an education call, an opportunity to really develop and cultivate a relationship with the customer. Where today, when I mystery or secret shop brokers and I'll leave my details and get a phone call, it's one question and then it goes directly into, hey, you know, this is what we offer. It's never
Does
a
it
value
works?
prop. It doesn't, because it's not a value
Does
proposition.
he ask you what you want?
He asks me, hey, have you ever traded before? And depends on my answer, I get a pitch.
Right.
And
Yes, but I mean, he doesn't
Well, that's
listen
wrong.
to you
Well, that's
because you
wrong.
need to
That's
listen.
not
I
the way
mean, he
you do
doesn't
it.
listen to
But
you. He
that's the
doesn't
thing.
understand your needs. Maybe you are the type of a client for this engagement, but you have to see it in a different perspective.
Okay, so that we'll come back to that in part 3. Some very important matters to discuss as well. So thank you for joining us. This is Dukascopy TV. I'm Andrew Saks-Mcleod from Leap Rate. Join us again for part 3 of the Forex Industry Talk Show. Goodbye.